When people discuss the origins of economic thought, they usually point to familiar figures like Adam Smith, Karl Marx, or occasionally Aristotle. Yet beneath this standard narrative lies a largely overlooked reality, one rarely emphasized in Western history. Nearly 1,000 years ago, long before capitalism, central banks or fiat currencies, a Muslim thinker issued a warning that still echoes through every modern financial crisis. He argued that when money loses its ethical foundation, societies begin to rot from within. Looking at the world today, it is difficult not to suspect that he understood our era better than we understand ourselves. That thinker was Abu Hamid al-Ghazali, one of the most influential minds of the Islamic Golden Age. To understand his ideas, we must picture the world around 1100 CE. Europe remained fragmented and impoverished, while the Islamic world stretched from Spain to Persia, filled with thriving cities, active trade routes, and intense intellectual life. Baghdad, Damascus, and Cairo stood as global centers of commerce and knowledge. Markets flourished, wealth expanded, and economic change accelerated rapidly. Al-Ghazali lived in the midst of this transformation. A philosopher, jurist, and theologian, he rose quickly through the scholarly ranks and attained one of the highest academic positions of his time. Yet his importance did not stem from status, but from critique. He observed societies growing wealthier while moral coherence weakened. Prosperity increased, yet meaning declined. The resemblance to the modern world was striking. He posed a dangerous question: what happens when wealth grows faster than wisdom? To answer it, he examined money itself, not merely as a tool, but as a moral force shaping human behavior. Unlike Aristotle, who treated money as practical, or later economists who reduced it to formulas, Al-Ghazali analyzed its psychological and ethical effects. He understood that money shapes incentives, trust, and ultimately the survival of civilizations. For Al-Ghazali, money was never meant to be an end in itself. It was a medium of exchange, valuable only because it enabled cooperation and production. Hoarded wealth, he argued, was lifeless. Money locked away from circulation did not merely fail to help society, it harmed it. By restricting flow, hoarding strangled markets, distorted prices, and burdened ordinary people. Scarcity, he warned, is often manufactured not by lack of resources, but by blocked circulation. He was equally critical of speculation. Manipulating prices, exploiting shortages, or profiting from crises was not ingenuity, but corruption. Gaining wealth without contributing value undermined trust, and once trust eroded, markets could not function. His description reads like a blueprint of modern bubbles, predatory finance, and crisis profiteering, written 9 centuries early. Yet Al-Ghazali was not anti-market. He believed trade was natural and necessary, and that profit could be honorable. His opposition was directed at deception, false weights, hidden defects, misinformation, and dishonest exchange. Markets, he argued, depend entirely on trust. Once trust collapses, economic systems soon follow. He also emphasized the dignity of labor. Wealth earned through effort strengthened both character and society. Wealth gained through manipulation weakened both. This was not moralism but realism. Civilizations thrive when contribution is rewarded and decay when exploitation becomes normal. His critique extended to the state. Rulers of his time often diluted gold or silver coinage to fund their ambitions, an early form of inflation. Al-Ghazali condemned this as theft. Currency debasement destroyed confidence, harmed the poor most, and destabilized society. Governments, he argued, should protect market integrity, not undermine it for short-term gain. Unjust leadership destroys prosperity more efficiently than any foreign enemy. He observed how corruption at the top spreads downward. When rulers deceive, merchants follow. When institutions abandon integrity, individuals abandon responsibility. Distrust multiplies from treasury to marketplace. His conclusion was uncompromising. Societies can survive poverty but not corruption. Economic collapse is rarely caused by a lack of resources. It is caused by the erosion of trust, the invisible force holding currencies, contracts, and institutions together. When trust disintegrates, even wealthy nations become fragile. History validated his warnings. From Weimar Germany to modern inflationary crises, people abandon currencies they no longer believe in. Inflation, Al-Ghazali understood, is not merely economic. It is a crisis of belief. Money works only as long as trust survives. Human behavior lay at the center of his analysis. People hoard from fear, speculate from greed, cheat when consequences seem distant, and justify exploitation once it becomes common. Systems collapse not because equations fail, but because incentives reward corruption. Wealth, therefore, carried responsibility. Prosperity required balance, accumulation paired with contribution, profit tempered by justice. When wealth detached from the common good, systems grew brittle and eventually broke, harming even those who thought themselves immune. Today's world mirrors his concerns. Inequality deepens, speculation outpaces productivity, trust in institutions erodes, and debt expands endlessly. Technology has changed, but human behavior has not. Al-Ghazali's message remains clear. Where justice disappears, prosperity cannot endure. Economies fail not because numbers stop working, but because trust collapses. Money is not a mechanical system. It is a moral ecosystem. And when that ecosystem breaks, finance follows. That is why his ideas matter now. In an age of instability and distrust, his warning is not philosophy, it is survival.